Hello. I'm here in my childhood room, and while I was here, I discovered this old book that's a novelization of a couple episodes of Pokemon. On the cover, it's advertised the Island of the Giant Pokemon, the one with like the robot dudes. Um, but on the back and for most of the book, it's mostly focused on Shipwrecked. And I haven't read a book in probably 24 years. So I figured to help me get back into reading, you, me, and my cat Prince could all read this book together. On the back, it reads Ash and Pikachu are invited to a Pokemon party on a cruise ship. Cool, right? Not. They've been tricked by the evil Team Rocket, who plan to steal all the Pokemon on board. Things get worse when the ship sinks and the survivors end up lost in a strange land filled with monster-sized Pokemon. Will the castaways find their way home, or will they be stranded forever on the island of giant Pokemon? Book 2 in the brand new Pokemon series based on the popular TV show. We turn to the cover and it says Island of Giant Pokemon, but not just that. It has the Pokemon theme song written out. Well, since you can't see it, I'll read it for you. I want to be the best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. It's you and me. Pokemon, gotta catch them all, but it's like in brackets. A heart so true. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all, Pokemon. There are more books. Collect them all. Next we have I Choose You, Island of Giant Pokemon, and coming soon, Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. I don't have I Choose You, but I do have Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. So maybe we'll be reading that next. Shout out to Scholastic Inc. This was adapted by Tracy West. It also has a map of the Kanto region here with like all the locations, like with little arrows that point down to where they are. This is a pretty sick way to follow Ash's journey. I'm not gonna lie. It looks nothing like the game map in like a really fucking cool way. Chapter 1. Cruising for Trouble. Ash can't believe how many Pokemon we've captured. Oh, it has dialogue. It's kind of like a novelization. Like it adds a bit more detail than you see in the episodes. So the first line goes like, "Ash, I can't believe how many Pokemon you've captured so far," Misty said, her red ponytail bobbing on top of her head. It's a sick rhyme there too. "You've done great." It's not my Brock voice. Brock agreed. "You've come a long way since you first began your Pokemon journey." Ash blushed a little at the praise of his two friends. This is a sweet book. He had begun his Pokemon training on his 10th birthday. Now he was traveling across the country searching for Pokemon, creatures with amazing powers. And it mostly just describes like the beginning of Ash's journey. Like they're just being like, I started out with empty Pokeballs, Ash said, and now they're filled with Pokemon. And then Missy's like, right, you got Bulbasaur, and then Bulbasaur was a blue-green Pokemon that had a plant bulb on its back. Then there's Squirtle that looked like a cute turtle. Shout out to turtles. I'm glad it's trying to relate the beauty of the Pokemon world to our mere Earth understanding of things. And don't forget Butterfree. That's foreshadowing, I think. I wonder what kind of Pokemon.
Nothing
Nothing
beats a
beats a
jelly-filled
jelly-filled
donut.
donut. I'm trying to like find the voice. I wonder what kind of Pokemon we'll find aboard the SSN, Brock wondered. I can't wait to find out, Ash said. He looked up at the large white cruise ship in front of them. The ocean liner looked almost as if it was long as a city block and as tall as a skyscraper. Whoa, okay. Next we get some lore about Giovanni. So while they're boarding the ship, the blonde girl ripped off a wig to reveal short purple hair. It wasn't a teenage girl at all. It was James, one half of a pair of Pokemon thieves called Team Rocket. Don't I make the cutest girl? James said. The redhead frowned. I don't know where Jesse came from. It was Jesse, James's partner in crime. Don't be ignorant, James. We've got to go talk to the boss. I'm British now. So they ran into a lighthouse, Meowth, their cat-like Pokemon fiddled with the knobs. And then a call from the boss comes in. Have you handed out all the tickets to the Pokémon cruise? Giovanni's deep voice was altered by a computer. Yes, Jesse said. Sorry, it's deep writing. Excellent, Giovanni said. My men have already. So after Team Rocket discussed their plan, we cut pretty quickly to chapter 2, called Butterfree versus Raticate, where they're in a loud, cheering hall crowd fight. Ash pushes his way through a trainer. The trainer was a man who wore a top hat, a black dinner jacket, a red bow tie, and blue tinted sunglasses. Is anyone brave enough to challenge my Eradicate? Ash's heart beat with excitement. Battling your Pokemon against other trainers' Pokemon was something every good Pokemon trainer was taught to do. Ash was itching for a battle. I will. Pokeball, go! The older trainer cried. Raticate, a large rat-like Pokemon with 4 large sharp fangs, appeared in a blaze of white light. Butterfree, I choose you! Does Ash's Butterfree even stand a chance against that Raticate? Misty asked nervously. She's always a doubter, dude. She's a hater since day one. Brock says, Sure, it's a good match. Ash knows what he's doing. Now, the older trainer was changing his strategy. Finish it, Raticate! Hyper Fang attack! Ash called out for Butterfree to use Stun Spore. The spores covered Raticate. Raticate crashed to the ground, stunned. The spores had paralyzed it, which in this world is a victory. All these pictures, they're not like original art also. They're like screenshots from the show, which I just want to say I think is awesome. So the old man quits, which he calls a draw, and I personally think that's cheating. But Ash and Pikachu are too distracted by the buffet to argue about it, so they go to the buffet. And I'm just going to read this next page in full so you can get the vibe of what we're reading here. What the? Ash looked up. The older trainer was approaching the table. At his side was a tall woman with auburn hair piled high on top her head. She wore a fancy evening gown. That Butterfree of yours is, quite extraordinary, the man said. It's incredible, the woman agreed. Beautiful, said Brock, blushing bright red. Brock was quiet and pretty calm most of the time, except when a beautiful woman was around. Then it was like he was on another planet. The man didn't seem to notice Brock. What do you think about my Raticate? He asked Ash. It looked great, and it put up a really tough fight, Ash said. The man stared at Ash through his blue tinted glasses. In that case, why don't we trade? Trade Pokemon? Ash had never heard that before. When people find that they like each other's Pokemon, they trade, the man said. It's a common practice everywhere. Everywhere? Ash turned to Brock for guidance. Brock was older and more experienced. He knew more about these things than Ash did. Should I trade, Brock? Ash asked. But Brock wasn't listening. He was still blushing at the trainer's beautiful companion. Sure, Ash, you gotta trade. Everybody should trade. He said absent-mindedly. Trading is one of the best things about having Pokemon, the man continued. Ash wasn't sure what to do. I feel like Ash is like really being pressured here. This is like, I think this is one of the aspects where a novelization kind of like it creates a different context than watching the anime where these things go really quickly. Reading this where it gives like the inner details of everything, I'm like, oh, yo, poor Ash, he's really being pressured into this. And then he goes like he's reminiscing about his relationship with Butterfree, and then Ash is like, well, Brock, if you say so, okay. And then the man's like, splendid, follow me. Oh, Pikachu's fucking sad about this. They do the trade and Pikachu says, Pika? Pikachu said sadly. Ash stared at the Pokeball in his hand. I'm not sure either. And then it's like this disgusting screenshot of Raticate. After I watched this episode, I remember I like refused to ever trade Pokemon because I had like such a bond with each of them. Like even like Pokemon I had that were like I had like 3 Pidgeotos, and I was like, no, I can't trade this. I I caught it like 2 seconds ago. They spend the next few pages reminiscing about Butterfree. I have this really sick screenshot here, and then Jesse, James, and Meowth appear, and they do their battle cry. It's called. I always thought of it as like an anthem or a motto, but battle cry goes kind of hard.
To protect the world from devastation, to unite all evils within our nation.
Fuck! I already fucked it up, and it's on the page for me. I can't read. I'm skipping forward. So Team Rocket appears, and what's interesting is they have so many screenshots from the episode, but this book spends about 2 pages describing the intricacies of their machine and how it looks and how it works. And I have to be real, it's so hard to picture that I had to look up what their machine actually was that they used. And I'm just saying, look, I'm just saying, no shade, Tracy West, but this is the one time I think a screenshot would have been really helpful. They defeat Team Rocket with like a pyramid of Pikachu, and they use Thunderbolt, and they go flying. It's sick as fuck. But what Ash realizes is that he's got to get Butterfree back from those 2 old swingers. Ash looked around the hall. They had defeated the Team Rocket soldiers. But where are Jesse, James, and Meowth?
I'm sure somebody took care of them. I'll look for them later. Right now, I've got to get back my Butterfree.
And then we have the same screenshot of Butterfree as before for chapter 4, that sinking feeling. Ash approached the trainer in the top hat.
We need to talk,
Ash said firmly, squeezing the man's shoulders. He was prepared to battle if he had to. Now see, this is another incredible addition to the novelization. I had no idea how violent Ash was, or at least ready for violence. What's this about? The man asked.
I really want my Butterfree back,
Ash explained. I worked hard training and raising it. Butterfree means a lot to me. The man had a serious look on his face. Ash tensed, ready to fight. Then his face softened. I understand what it's like to care about your Pokémon. Follow me to the Pokemon trading room. Oh, fuck. This is our first time seeing a picture of how the man looks. He looks insane. They're so engulfed into trading that they don't notice that the ship is rocking back and forth. A storm was brewing. So like Jesse, James, and Meowth are fucking drowning, but they're like, we still have Magikarp, and they try to use him to swim, and dog, it it doesn't work. They get knocked out by like the force of the ship rocking. Then we cut back to Brock, Misty trying to find Ash, so they missed the lifeboats, and no one cares enough to check to see if they're okay. All the lifeboats are now full, and the crew is like, this awesome captain is like, I think we got everybody. Let's go. And then they lower everyone into the boat, and then they just swim off. But Team Rocket were still inside, and so were Ash, Misty, Brock, and Pikachu. Then we go on to chapter 5, Go Goldeen, and we kind of pick up in medias res. Something that word is not, that's not what that word means, but don't worry about it. Ash, wake up! And Ash opened his eyes. Everything was a blur. But then Misty, Brock, and Pikachu came into focus in front of him. They were standing on the ceiling of the ship as it sunk. Ash realized they were upside down. They followed the hall to an upside-down staircase that was covered with water.
What are we supposed to do now?
Misty looked thoughtful. We're upside down. That means the ship's deck is below us, and the ship's bottom is above us. Ash pictured the upside-down ship in his mind.
I don't get it.
We have to dive down to the deck, but if we come across a dead end, we're done for. No problem, Misty said. She pulled a Pokeball from her knapsack. Go, Goldeen! Misty threw the ball into the water. A fish-like Pokemon appeared. Goldeen was white and reddish-orange with graceful, ruffled fins. That's something I never really got from Goldeen, because I've played so much Super Smash Bros. Melee that to me I'm like, oh, Goldeen's so useless. But Goldeen, the Pokemon previously stated, said in a musical voice, Goldeen. Now I just love the way this next paragraph is phrased. Goldine, go! Dive down to the deck! It wasn't long before Goldine came swimming back toward them. The Pokemon was pushing something with its head. Dot dot dot. Something alive.
Team Rocket?
Ash couldn't believe his eyes. Jessie, James, and Meowth were soaked. Their eyes were closed. The members of Team Rocket then began coughing and sputtering. Slowly, they opened their eyes. I feel like I remember in like the original series, Ash being like,
Are they dead?
Team Rocket are ready to fight, but Misty turned to them and said, "What's more important, a Pokemon battle or your life?" Good point. So they declare a bit of a temporary truce, and they come up with a plan to escape using their water Pokemon and Ash's Charmander to burn a hole in the side of the ship, and then they'd like swim up to the surface. And they all have water Pokemon, except for Team Rocket, who only have Magikarp. So they all tie themselves to Magikarp, Team Rocket does. And while Ash and his gang are swimming away, because water Pokemon are Misty's specialty, it tells us, Team Rocket stays drowning in the sea, and they're like, fuck, we're doomed. Meow the cry. So we come back in medias res again. I think I'm still using that phrase wrong. And Brock is hanging on to a large piece of fiberglass. Everyone comes to their senses, they gather together, and they find a raft. And then Ash scans the calm ocean breeze. Small pieces of debris bobbed in the water, but nothing else.
Team Rocket still hasn't resurfaced, he remarked. I wonder if they're still trapped inside.
There's nothing we can do, Brock said, fucking coldly. They're just, like, they don't give a shit. They actually seem pretty upset that Team Rocket survived at all, because when Pidgeotto finds them, Ash goes,
Team Rocket? Those guys must have 9 lives.
He so wish they were dead, dude. Team Rocket, after surviving, are mad at Magikarp, so James kicks it into the ocean. Misty remarks that she feels kind of sorry for it. And then it like evolves into Gyarados, which we get a 6 screenshot of. It's described by Ash that he thought it must have been 2 stories tall. And back when I was young, I think I always figured that when I grew older, I'd know what phrases like 2 stories tall means. But I have to be so for real. I'm 24 now, and I have no idea how tall a story is, and I still don't really know what a block is either, so. Misty's face clouded. Sailors tell terrible stories about Gyarados. I think this might be Dragon Rage. Dragon Rage, the others asked in surprise. The water began to churn. 4 wild Gyarados raised their long necks above the water and joined James's Gyarados. The 5 sea serpents formed a straight line. Then the giant Pokemon began weaving between one another like they were doing a crazy dance. It is Dragon Rage! Gyarados' ultimate attack! That's a really sick thing the anime added. Like, it's not just a move that Gyarados can do, like, there's like lore around it. Like, Gyarados with these 5 other Gyarados can form a Dragon's Rage. I just think that's sick. They use it though, and the gang goes flying away. In this, what I can only assume is an homage, a word I think I'm using correctly, to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Ash, while they're flying away and Pikachu slipping from his hand, Ash yells, "Don't let go!" But it was too late. Ash lost his grip. The force of the cyclone pulled him away from his friends. Ash went flying into the sky. Ash plummeted back down into the ocean. His body slammed into the water. Then his world went dark. This this really makes shit sound intense. Like when you're watching it as like a cartoon, it's like, oh, they got hit, and then like we cut away. But Ash, like his vision going dark, like he was knocked out, it for some reason it just gets me. They wind up on an island, they're like rubbing their heads. Misty's like, how did we survive that cyclone? And Ash says,
We were lucky.
like, Jesus, man. I don't know if that's like I feel like if I were to rewatch the episode, I don't remember Ash like really like giving like a war survivor's perspective on what happened and being like, I don't know if we were all lucky, and then looking down to like where Pikachu and his Pokemon are. It's not going so well for our real heroes, Jessie and James. Panicked, Jessie looked down at her uniform. Oh no, I've lost the Pokeball with the Ekans I got for my birthday. James checked his uniform. The Pokeball with my coughing is gone too. Jesse and James looked at each other in despair. Tears poured from their eyes. What happened to our Pokemon? They cried out. There was no answer. They seemed to care so much more than Ash and his gang do. But now we're on chapter 9, Pokemon on their own. And it's a little screenshot of coughing and a massive Ekans. On another part of the sandy beach, Pikachu walked along a sandy beach. That's not the book. It says island. I just can't read. It wasn't hurt, but it was a little afraid. Feared. I want. Who am I, Shakespeare? Why can't I read? After the cyclone hit, Pikachu was separated from Ash. Now it couldn't find Ash anywhere. Pikachu saw red, white, and oh my god, we get translations. I don't remember if there was I know there are like translations in like all of them, but I'm so ready to read this. So Pikachu like touches each of the balls and then Pokemon come out of them. And they each have some dialogue. Pika Pika, Pikachu said. Even though each Pokemon spoke its own language, they could understand one another. The other Pokemon knew that Pikachu was saying, Are you all right? I'm all right, said Charmander, a little weakly. I felt better, said Squirtle. Bulbasaur was more stubborn. I'm just fine, it said. Squirtle looked around the beach. Where are we? Asked the water Pokemon. I don't know, Pikachu said, but I think we should try to find Ash. Okay, the other Pokemon agreed. As they were walking together, it got dark, so they used Charmander's tail to light the darkness around them. And even though the darkness was gone, Pikachu was getting nervous. I don't see Ash and those guys anywhere. He calls them those guys? That's awesome. He 100% Pikachu does not know Brock and Misty's names. Maybe they all got eaten by wild Pokemon, Squirtle joked. I almost said jorked. It chomped its teeth and laughed. Pikachu did not like Squirtle's joke. Don't say things like that, Pikachu squirtled. Oh my god, I'm getting tired of being illiterate. This is why I haven't read in 24 years. Squirtle frowned. Sorry. Bulbasaur looked sad, too. Maybe Ash forgot about us. And then we have like a little screenshot of Bulbasaur speaking. Ash would never do that, Pikachu protested. You're right. He's not like that. Bulbasaur didn't seem convinced. Maybe, it said. And then Meowth jumps out at them from a bush, threatens them, and they all beat the shit out of him. Pikachu even says, Don't worry, it's just Meowth. He points to a rocky ledge behind him where Ekans and Coughing are just kind of over there chilling. Go get 'em, Meowth ordered. Ekans and Coughing didn't move. You're not Master, Ekans hissed. I only obey Master. Come on, we're all bad guys here. We don't need masters to tell us to do bad stuff. And then the quote from Tumblr. Pokemon not bad guys, Ekans said. Pokemon only do bad things because master bad. That's right, Coughing huffed in a deep voice. You're wrong. My master's not here and I'm still a bad guy, Meowth said angrily. I don't know who Meowth's master is. I assume by the way he's speaking that's not James or Jesse. I like to think it's Giovanni. You sure you want to fight against all of us? Meowth smiles nervously. Oh, I guess we could call it a draw. Not good enough, Pikachu said. Bulbasaur, you know what to do. Bulbasaur nodded and sent vines flying out the plant bulb on its back. The vines lashed around Meowth, tying it tightly. We can't take any chances. Squirtle's stomach rumbled. Squirtle hungry. I should say like Eden hungry in the future. I love that. Me too, Pikachu said. Let's set up camp. So everyone gathers fruit around a campfire. It's fucking chill. They're munching on food with Coughings and Ekans. What were you guys doing? Pikachu asked. Ekans and Coughing responded. Looking for our masters, Ekans hissed. Ours gone too, said Squirtle. Bulbasaur frowned. He's abandoned us. Abandoned? Asked Ekans. Maybe us too. Pikachu shook his head. No, you're all wrong. he knew Ash. Well, actually, I kind of just gendered Pikachu. It says it knew Ash would never abandon them, and that's kind of awesome. Then the giant robot Pokemon appear. Spoilers, it's like an amusement park. They run away, and just like Ash, Pikachu compares Rhydon to stories and skyscrapers that he saw in Celadon City. They all run away. They leave Meowth tied up, but then Pikachu runs back and unties Meowth. But it says Pikachu thought about it for a split second. So, I don't know. Pikachu's got some bloodlust, and I'm kind of into that. Charmander says, Charmander tired, the fire type Pokemon said weakly. They ran away and they're in like a cave.
Me too,
Said Squirtle. Let's sleep here. We can find Ash in the morning.
find masters.
Ekans hissed. They're giving coughing no lines, and that was the easiest voice to do on my throat, so I'm kind of upset about it. Maybe everyone's gonna sound like coughing in a second. So we cut to Ash, Misty, and Brock the next day. They're running from legendary Pokemon in Chapter 10, Flying Pokemon Attack. And it describes these two Pokemon as a flying giant Pokemon appeared in the sky. It was the legendary Pokemon Zapdos. Its body glowed with golden light, its feathers like jagged knives, flashes like lightning bolts sparked from its wings. Zapdos. It was huge, bigger than a jet plane. I love season 1 descriptions of things, dude. There's no like really like world build yet. It feels so like open, and they're using like the most like normal terms from like the real world to like compare and contrast Pokemon to. I don't know. There's something about it that just makes the world feel so like old to me in a way I like. So everyone survives their legendary Pokemon attack. Then we cut back to the Pokemon friends, and they're all arguing and shit about like leaving because they might get attacked again. But they decide to embark. They're searching, and then Bulbasaur, after about like 3 seconds of searching, is like, it says Bulbasaur sighed. We'll never find them, it said sadly. Suddenly, Squirtle stopped in its tracks.
I think we found something.
And I thought it was going to be like, oh, look how silly Bulbasaur was. They found the gang again. But instead, it's another giant Pokemon. This one looked like a giant turtle. Its shell was made of hard armor. Two metal water cannons protruded from each shoulder. Is that a relative of yours, Squirtle? It's a little fucking joke. Charmander's got fucking jokes up here. Go ask it for directions. And I thought Squirtle was going to be like, we don't all like, we're not like this just because we're all from the same evolutionary line. But Squirtle's pretty keen on this. He's like, all right,
I'll give it a try.
Squirtle said bravely. Squirtle walked up behind Blastoise. It cleared its throat and tried to act calm. I'm gonna read this as written, and you can double check with me.
Yo, brother.
Squirtle said. Blastoise slowly turned around. It studied Squirtle with its piercing gaze.
Nice weather we're having.
Squirtle said. Blastoise roared. It lifted a giant foot and stomped toward the Pokemon.
Let's get out of here.
Pikachu said. The Pokemon ran down the nearest path. Blastoise was big, but it was slow. It gave up the chase. And then we have a screenshot of Charmander running, and this is from like the previous like episode, but I kind of like that they're like, well, we have no other Charmander running animation, so we'll just like put it right here. They find a Venusaur, and Squirtle, in I imagine a very petty way, is like,
Awesome. Bulbasaur, you go talk to it. You guys are like family.
Bulbasaur shook his head. No way. Just call me an orphan. I don't have any family. Bulbasaur? I never took Bulbasaur for the edgelord Pokemon.
Come on, dude.
Squirtle prodded. If I had to do it, so do you. Okay, he is being petty. Let's fucking go. Venusaur chases them, and Bulbasaur's like, oh no, not again, Bulbasaur complained. They ran through the trees, the other Pokemon followed behind. And then instead of like separating it by chapters this time, they have like a little lightning bolt here to show that we're going to a different scene. So the story goes on. Jesse and James use a phone booth to call for help. Then they get into like a minecart. They're being chased by Kabutops. Ash is still fucking sad. I misread one of these words. It says skidded. I thought it was skibbitied to a stop. Um, and while Ash is sad, he finds Pikachu and he yells, Pikachu! Ash cried. Um, jumbo-sized, Brosh added. It was another giant Pokemon. So while Ash and the gang are running away from the giant Pikachu, Jesse and James are on like a giant mine cart. They're wheeling really fast. They're wheeling really fascistly. They're wheeling really fast. Ash sees like other giant Pokemon that like ahead of them. They're like, we gotta stop them. They run, and then they realize that the railroad tracks aren't railroad tracks at all. They're on roller coaster tracks. They all get in like the cart together, and while they're running, they see their Pokemon, and the Pokemon are like right to the side of them. They're like, jump in, and all the Pokemon like they're all like reunited in a really cute picture, but the giant Pokemon are still chasing them. And James, with maybe the most wisdom in this book, says, "These last few days, Team Rocket has survived every danger," James said. "Based on our recent run of luck, I would say that right about now the cable will snap." At James's words, the giant Pokemon got tangled in the cable. The tiny cart couldn't pull so many giant Pokemon. The cable strained with the weight, then it snapped. "Next we'll be hurtled into the air," James said. The snapping cable acted like a catapult. Ash braced himself as the railroad cart went flying into the air. "And finally, we'll crash into something and fall into the water," James said. The cart turned upside down in midair. The giant Zapdos was right behind them. The bottom of the cart struck one of Zapdos's sharp knife-like wings. The cart snapped in two. Jesse, James, and their Pokemon went flying off in one direction. "Meowth will get you back next time." Oh, they're blasting off, I see. Ash, Misty, Brock, and their Pokemon went flying in another direction. Ash hugged Pikachu tightly. His stomach lurched. He braced himself for a crash landing. The broken cart hurtled toward the ground. It landed with a splash in a small lagoon. Ash swam to the water's surface, gasping for air. His feet touched the sandy bottom. The lagoon wasn't that deep. With relief, Ash saw that Misty, Brock, and Pikachu had all made it. They were wet, but they were fine. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander were fine too.
This is too much, Ash said. We'll never get off this island.
But I think they might get off it because right in the little corner, we got a really cute screenshot of them just looking really chuffed to see each other. Oh shit, we're on the last two pages. All right, here we go. "Maybe it won't be so hard after all," Misty said, pointing. Ash looked back at the island. The giant Pokemon were piled into a broken heap on the shore. Wires were sticking out of them. Metal nuts and bolts were popping off. They were popping off and rolling to the ground.
What's going on?
Ash asked. Before Misty could answer, a small boat floated into the lagoon. The boat was filled with people with sunglasses. They wore cameras around their necks. They looked like tourists. A tour guide in a pink uniform, nice, was talking into a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pokemon Land," she said. "Here you'll see various Pokemon at over 10 times their natural size." So why are the Pokemon trained to attack people? Why is this like a Jurassic Park situation where it's just like, yeah, we kind of just like program these robots to kill on sight? It's like a thing. The tourists love it. "Of course, these giant Pokemon are all mechanical, so don't worry, it's very safe." Lies. "Mechanical Pokemon?" Brock said. "I get it. They're fake."
This is so cool,
Ash said.
I love theme parks.
Misty groaned. "Ash, you are unbelievable." Ash began to climb out of the lagoon. The giant Pokemon were falling apart. They didn't look so scary anymore. Low key, it sounds like they'd have like a Five Nights at Freddy's vibe to them. I feel like I'd be more scared, if anything.
I guess there's nothing more to do here. Where should we go next?
"Pikachu," Pikachu said. "Pika Pika." Ash laughed. "What did it say?" Misty asked.
Pikachu said, go anywhere except on a cruise.
Ash said. The friends all laughed. They climbed onto the shore, glad that this adventure was over. Of course, they couldn't wait for the next one. Coming soon, Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. Ash, Misty Brock, and Pikachu go on a Pokemon fossil dig. Things get explosive when Team Rocket accidentally wakes up some cranky ancient Pokemon, including a flying Aerodactyl. Then Ash finds a mysterious Pokemon egg. Could it hold a brand new Pokemon? Catch it in September. About the author, Tracy West has been writing books for more than 10 years. It's a long time. When she's not playing the blue version of the Pokemon game, she starred with a Squirtle. She enjoys reading comic books, watching cartoons, and taking long walks in the woods, looking for wild Pokemon. She lives in a small town in New York with her friends, family, and pets. That's actually adorable. This is the sickest author bio I've ever read. And next time I have to make a bio, I am 100% like stealing this. This is cute as fuck. You can buy 5 volumes of Pokemon on video. For more, check out www.pioneeranimation.com. I'm actually going to check that out. I wonder what they're up to these days. But yes, that is Pokemon Island of the Giant Pokemon. Thank you to Tracy West. Thank you for watching. Um, I don't know if I learned anything other than like Ash is down for murder, Pikachu's a hater, and Bulbasaur, he doesn't fuck with anyone, dude. That's pretty sick. Okay. Bye. Bye. Video done. Bye.